Shall we start, ma'am?
Done. Yes.
Thank you. A very good morning to everyone. I welcome you all today for this amazing learning session. I am Preeti, one of the sales specialists at Protus Professional Training. So before we start, let me give you a quick overview about us. Protouch is a certification institute which provide upskilling courses to the professionals like HR generalists, HR analytics, advanced certification, POSH train the trainer to deliver POSH trainings, business analytics for manager certification, corporate trainer and facilitator train the trainer certification. We also provide customized programs. So all the programs are accredited by the topmost bodies like SHRM, HRCI, CPD, and IBEC. I'm so glad to see many existing students, team members, and aspiring students of ProTouch who have joined this learning session today. I would like to ask everyone a question. How can you manage to create win-win situation at the time of conflicts? I would like to repeat my question to everyone, and please you can share your thoughts, your concern over the chat box. How can you manage to create win-win situation at the time of conflict?
By asking the right question or communication to have a
Great. Umang has raised his hand. Yes, Umang.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am. Thank you for your giving me opportunity. So what I believe in this thing is the very first thing we need to understand is we need to value the opinions of both the parties. The very first thing is when we value the opinion of both the parties, the very first benefit that we get is we will get a different aspect of same thing. For example, if I have to eat something, if I have rice to cook and I have two people, one is saying I have to cook pulao, one is saying I have to cook biryani. So from one rice, I have two variables to do. So it's a great opportunity to learning and valuing both the things and come out of a simple thing that is, we can say, adjustment. Sometimes we need to adjust, sometimes the other party needs to adjust. So we need to adjust, value both the things. So it's a great way of learning as well.
Thank you so much, Umang, for sharing your thoughts. Anyone would like to share your thought? You can please unmute yourself, or you can please put your concern on the chat box. Okay, all right. So let's start our learning session today. With Daniel, Gagandeep, and Shweta, our guest speaker of today morning. I would like to introduce first of all Daniel. He works in an IT enables services organization named as Essential Solutions Private Limited, with 16 plus years of diverse experience in customer service, supply chain management, and transition management. Along with that, he is possessing strong leadership qualities, people management, and stakeholder management. He has just started his training venture after successfully completing his corporate trainer and facilitator certification at ProTouch to enhance his skill. Coming into the profile of Gagandeep, he is a product and process trainer. He has 13 plus years of experience in telecom and insurance sector as a product and process trainer, and has biggest takeaway from the industry is that connect, learn, and deploy. So this mantra has made him an enthusiastic leader, learner, as well as a competent trainer. He is now working as zonal training manager. Coming into Shweta's profile, she is a corporate trainer and facilitator with an impressive track record spanning 22 years of experience in human resource development and retail business. Her expertise compasses diverse areas, including front desk management, cross-selling financial products, and people management. Within a realm of human resource, Shweta has overseen pivotal projects such as digitization of documents and spearheaded learning and development initiatives for pan-India employees. Her professional journey is rooted in the BFSI sector, where she currently contributes her skill and knowledge at Stock Holding Corporation of India Limited. It's an honor to have Daniel, Gagandeep, and Shweta today morning. Over to you, Daniel.
Yes. Thanks, Preeti, for the wonderful intro.
Good morning, everyone. This is Daniel. Okay, let me first take this opportunity to thank the entire ProTouch team for giving us this platform to practice and enhance our skills. Thank you so much. Right. So, as you all know, what is the topic is going to be today? Yes, it is conflict management. So before starting, I would like to hear it from you guys. What is the definition of conflict? What is your understanding on that? So anybody can go ahead. Volunteers, please.
Two different perspectives.
Okay, thank you.
Having a difference between two ideas.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya.
Not having an agreement on same thing.
Yes, Anjay.
Between two people.
Dispute between two parties or people.
Exactly. Yes. So rightly, you guys have pointed out it is an agreement or disagreement or problem with two parties or a group of people, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen. Just give me a moment. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So managing conflict, right? So as we discussed about this already, so it's a disagreement or problem between two people, right? So conflict can happen when people have different opinions about things, right? And also it can happen anytime, right? It arises from great or poor work or good or bad uh, bad behavior, nice or nasty nasty comments, right? So whatever it may be, so conflict may arise anytime. So we must then
Can we just put it on slideshow, please?
yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, right. So there is a saying, right? When your emotions are not at the I mean your emotions are not in control, definitely your intelligence will not work properly, right? So we have to learn how to control our emotions. Okay, so we will be going further into this and study so that we could have a better understanding on that to navigate those differences so that we can create a harmonious relationship in the family or at a workplace. Okay, right. So let's quickly move on to a small activity, right? So on the screen, you can see four colors, right? Gray, red, black, brown. Okay. So I want you to look at these colors, right? And when you think of conflicts, what color it represents. Okay. And after choosing that color, right? And also I would like to know from you guys, what is the reason behind it? Why did you choose that color, right? So let me stop my screen sharing for a while. So can I have people to give some thoughts about it? So what color did you choose and why did you choose? Any volunteers, please? Yes, Umar.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much. So I specifically chose gray. Why? Because once the conflict starts, we cannot say a party is wrong or a party is right. Both the perspective are equal and both have their own opinions. So when the conflict starts, it creates a kind of you can say the conflict of interest of both the parties. So it can be come under gray color. But yes, if it takes you can say a drastic or any kind of dangerous situation, then it can go to the black. But I feel is it should remain into the gray because both the opinions have their own pros, both the opinions have their own perceptions, both opinions have their own values. So gray is something that I chose.
Okay, thank you for that. Anybody wants to go? Somi?
Yes. Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm good too. Thanks for
Right.
asking. So, according to me, I will choose red color.
Hmm.
Because like sometime if there is some argument or dispute in mindset, so generally red is a color which denotes danger. So something that is why I prefer ki that is the red color which I choose from my perspective.
Okay, good. Thank you. Right. So, see, people have different opinions, right? Somebody has written something white as it will present different perspective. Yes, thank you, Sakshi. Right. So each one has, your own perception or awareness about conflict, right? So when you think of a conflict, right? But so it will not fit into the color that we think of, right? The reality is not that, because we don't know what angle, what form, or what way a conflict can create in a team, right, or around us, right? So that's why we need to understand the causes of conflicts, right? So let me go ahead and reshare my screen. Is it visible now? Okay, thank you. Right. Okay. So causes of conflict. All right. The first point, scarcity of resources. Okay. So it is nothing but the shortage of resources, right? Say, for example, in an organization, already there is a budget constraint. There are two teams. Okay. So one is a production team and one is finance or administrative department, right? So when production team thinks the budget can be utilized for purchasing new equipments, but at the same time the administrative team may think differently. Why do we want to use the budget for purchasing new equipment? Already we have old equipments which can be repaired, right? So when these two parties have different opinions, there is a conflict, correct? So these are not limited that you can see on the screen. There are a lot more about causes of conflict. Okay, so I just touch upon two more points over here. Poor communication. So when we talk about poor communication, it is not about good or bad English. Okay, it is about the way that you communicate with your subordinate in a crisp and in a concise way, so that they can understand and they can react to it, right? If you say something and if they understand something, right, then it is difficult to coordinate with the team, right? And last one we can see, send written messages. Send. So when we are dealing with any complex or any sensitive project, right? So that time we are going beyond the deadline. So that time process owners, sometimes they might come and sit with you, or they may ask you to gather and face to face conversation, right? So that will be very easier for them to connect with you, right? But some of the employees may think differently. Why is coming and giving this this information on face to face? It has to be come through written English, through email, right? So that kind of behavior or attitude or different opinions, that will cause conflict, right? So these are some examples of conflict of, causes of conflict, right? Right. So what are the organizational cost of poorly managed conflicts? So before going to understand this, we must also understand what is the personal cost of poorly managed conflicts, right? So when I say personal cost of poorly managed conflicts, three things, okay? The first one is stress, physical.
Daniel, take a pause here. Take a pause.
Yeah.
You can stop sharing the screen.
Okay.
And this question can be for everyone, all of the people who are attending here. If we don't manage conflicts effectively in our life, at our workplace, wherever we go, what will be the consequences? Just put it in the chat box. What will happen if we don't manage the conflicts properly in life? I'm very curious to know. Kya baat, it's coming from Sumit. That's so nice. Really hats off to your learning spirit, right? Anxiety, mental stress. Yes. Let's see some more. Performance, wonderful. Impact on performance, focus. Things will accumulate and end up stressful state. Absolutely. And let me ask you one more thing. If we don't manage the conflict, who will be the person who will suffer the most? Is it you or is it the other party? We ourselves, I myself, right? Amazing. And can we have a life without conflict? Can we have life without conflict? So अपने पास क्या है solution? Either face it, right? There are two F, either fight or flight. What we need to do? Or I will add one more F, that is face it. Some people will say that flight, that run away from conflict. How long? कई बार तो घर में होता है, घर से कहाँ भाग के जाओगे, है ना? So face it. And I think this team will give us more insights on how one can face it. Isn't it? Over to you, Daniel.
Thanks, ma'am, for your insight on this. Right. So let me reshare my screen. Right. So as we discussed, right? So the personal cost of poorly managed conflicts, stress, physical problem, and psychological problem. So you guys are also have rightly pointed out, right? So unnecessary frustration, anger, right? And also anxiety, sleep disturbances, headache, right? Low self-esteem, isolation, right? So people don't want to be with a group. They want always to be, isolated, right? They don't talk much, right? So these are the, things will happen when you are into conflict situation, right? So now we can understand what about the organizational cost of poorly managed conflicts, right? So medical. So when these conflicts are not managed properly, unresolved, people definitely not will not pay attention to their work, because they will fall in sick, right? So there should be a medical attention for that people. So the company has to bear the cost of that person, right? So it is going to be a cost for the company, right? The next, productivity. So people will be wasting their time, talking more about this conflict than productive work, right? And when we come to turnover, so people, tend to make decision and they will leave the organization, right? So when they leave the organization, definitely uh, the HR department, they will, spend money in recruiting new people, training, and also they lose an efficient employee and his knowledge or skills, right? So it is going to be a cost for the company. Creativity, definitely a creativity or innovation will be lost. So people will not share their ideas, opinions, right? Because of the unresolved conflict. And finally, decision making. Maybe, you can have a delayed decision. If at all you make any decision, definitely that will be a toss for a company, right? It will be a wrong decision only. So these are the organizational cost of poorly managed conflicts, guys. So there are more to talk about this, but then, I will end my presentation as of now. If you have any questions, right, that can be answered in a QA session, right? So let me request Mr. Gagandeep to take over from here. Over to you, Gagandeep. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. Good morning, team.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
Good morning.
Morning,
Good
Gagandeep.
morning. Thank you, Dr. Aparna, for a beautiful insight, and thank you, Daniel, for helping me to set the context. Rightly said by Dr. Aparna that there are two modes. One is fight, or another one is flight, and third F is face. So एक कोट है, हर किसी को मुकम्मल जहां नहीं मिलता, किसी को जमीन नहीं मिलती, किसी को आसमान नहीं मिलता, विच मीन्स कि हम सभी को खुश नहीं कर सकते हैं. So I have one question regarding conflict resolution. So have you ever experienced a positive outcome from a conflict?
Yes,
Okay. So what happened that made the particular conflict turn out to be positive?
it helped me to improve myself also.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So, if you want to handle conflict more effectively and finds mutually beneficial solutions, it's important to understand your own conflict style and also to recognize the style of others. So, imagine a conflict like a puzzle. How we deal with it is our unique style, and let's break it down into simple steps. Let me show my PPT. Is it visible?
Yes.
So there are different styles to handle the conflict. So everyone has a unique style to respond to conflict. So first we talk about avoidance style. So it's like pretending the puzzle does not exist or hopes it goes away. It's basically a silent treatment to conflict. But sometimes it just leaves pieces scattered. We can use this style when the issue is of little value or we need cooling off period. Second is accommodation. This is when you give in a bit like sharing puzzle pieces. It keeps things calm. But if you give too much, your picture might not be complete. So this style we can use when you believe you may be wrong or issue is more important to some other party and relationship is more important to you. Next style is competitive style. It is like saying, I want my puzzle to be the main picture. It is a bit bold, but be careful not to knock over someone else's puzzle in this process. We can use this style when there is need of speedy decision or issue is more important to you or you can say both the parties are equally powerful. अब मैं उस जो मेरे सामने खुद ही पावरफुल है उसको मैं मुक्का मारूंगा तो वो उल्टा मेरे पे मारेगा तो इट्स बेटर it's better to uh, only think about competitiveness in case if the decision need to be imposed just like for example there is a deadline so we have to complete the task urgently so then we can use this style. So next style is compromise style. A compromise is basically here we can find common ground where everyone gives up a few pieces to make a new picture. It's a fair deal method, but we have to make sure that the final picture is something that everyone likes. Last style is collaborating style. So collaborating style, it is the teamwork style where everyone works together to make a masterpiece. It takes time and effort, but the result is usually worth it. So we can use collaborative way for win-win situation, and also we can use this style when issue is complex and commitment is needed from both the parties for successfully implementation of the idea. So, what comes to your mind when you are seeing this picture? Please respond. Am I audible?
Yes,
Okay.
you are.
Umang replied, donkey.
It's a
Anyone else?
donkey.
And it's happy.
It's
Happy
happy.
donkey.
Happy donkey.
Happy donkey.
Laughter.
Laughter. So, what do you think about the personality of donkey or attitude of
Approval.
donkey?
Positive attitude. He's smiling, so that's why.
Okay, positive. And in general, if he is not smiling, and when we are looking in a real life,
Stress
cruel
free.
one.
Dumb.
pardon,
Dumb.
dumb. Okay,
Stress
happy,
free.
stress free. Okay,
He's in hashtag Sanuki mode.
pardon,
Sanuki.
tanuki.
हाँ, that means हमें क्या फर्क पड़ता है?
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for a new word, tanuki. Okay, thank you for your response. So basically, we treat people or situation in the same way, same manner. as we are treating here with donkey. So we discount the good in them, and we only look at a negative side or sometime positive side and start reacting, right? So basically, in first we take action, then we stop, and then we think and feel guilty about our behavior. That is why others say there is an attitude problem. So remember 10-90 rule. 10-90 rule is 10% is what happens and 90% is how to react or respond to what happens, and that's our attitude. So basically, we have to analyze our you can say hot buttons. So what are hot buttons? Hot buttons are behavior in others that can upset or irritate you when you encounter them. So what we have to perform, first we have to stop, then we have to think, and then we have to act. So basically, to handle any conflict, so conflict management styles are just the different way to handle our puzzles of disagreement. The trick is picking the right style for the right situation. So any question, any query, or any suggestion regarding this? Yes, team. Any suggestion or any question or any query regarding conflict styles? Swami writing from conflict, we can understand others' perspective, right? We have to understand both the perspective, that is a negative or positive, but we have to focus on positive perspective more for win-win situation.
I would like to suggest something here. And
Yes.
in the meanwhile, you can give me sharing access also. Right? Since childhood, it has been told to us to have win-win situation. But let me tell you, you cannot have win-win all the time.
Yeah,
especially
right.
when you are in a leadership. Okay. There are times when you may have to get into win and lose. Because problem is this, we want something, but we want other person also to win, and which is not possible in many cases. And suppose if the other person is not winning, then we carry guilty feeling. We carry that guilty feeling that, boss, how is it possible? But please understand, there will be a lot of situations in your life, and especially when you are managing your children, you're managing certain things, managing a team, you may need to win. Like suppose if I'm handling a sexual harassment case and I say, now we should have win-win. Uska bhi bala, mera bhi bala. Hoga kya? And is it the right approach? Is it the right approach when someone has done a wrong thing in company? Right? So I think we have to reprogram ourselves and say that conflicts are good. Very important, conflicts are good. And another thing is this, there may not be always win-win. मैं हमेशा बोलती हूँ have a 5:1 ratio. 5 times let other person win. 1 time you don't give. Right? Just imagine in child and mother's relationship. If child is always winning, are we preparing them to lose? Right? And many times in new parenting style, we say children should win all the time. They should win all the time. May not be. Right? So 5:1. So that's okay. You have to see what are the things which you can give up and which are the things in which you cannot give up. And give people a reminder, last time I did that, right? याद है आपको ये चाहिए था, मैंने हाँ बोल दिया था, अब नहीं, है ना? So with your permission, Anjay, you can stop recording, please. I just would like to show you one video. Can I show you one video and see how conflicts can be good, right? Just give me a second, please. Much everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So now I am handing my baton to Shweta to learn few skills regarding how to handle conflict. Over to you, Shweta.
Thank you, Gagandeep. Since morning, we have understood what is conflict, cause of conflict, the styles that how we can handle conflict, right? Let's have a quick energizer. So I want everyone to move their heads in the direction I tell you. So when I tell you up, you have to look up. When I tell you down, you have to look down. When it's right, turn to your right. And when it's left, turn to your left. I will request everyone to put their cameras on. So are we ready? Good to go? You can give me a thumbs up. Right. So it will be slow and then it will take the speed and then there'll be a twist. Okay. So let's start. Up, down, left, right, left, right, down, up, down, left, right, right, left, 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 right, up, down, down. Okay, good. I could see everyone doing it religiously. Now let's have a twist. Now we'll do it vice versa. So when I tell you down, you have to look up. When I tell you up, you have to look down. And same goes with right and left. So when I tell you right, you will be looking towards your left. And when I tell you left, you'll be looking towards your right. Good to go? Right. So let's start. Down, up, right, left, right, left, down, up, down, down, left, right, left, right, up, down, right, left, up, down, down, up. Yeah, let's stop it here. And what happened? I could see many people getting confused. Even when it was down, people were looking down, you know. So what happened in this? When the, when I changed the things, what happened with that? You can unmute yourself and
Confusion.
Confusion. We are not used to
There was a
it.
conflict in your mind happening, right? अरे down बोला नीचे देखना है ऊपर देखना है. There was a conflict that was going on, right? It wasn't it that we need to unlearn what we had done. Like for us, down is down, but we need to unlearn and learn something new, a new concept we had to learn, right? So was that also been there? Similarly, for resolving conflict, also we need to at times unlearn our old understandings and learn new things. So most important skills, what I feel, what we require during conflict. I will first like to ask you people, what is the skill that you feel you require to resolve any kind of conflict? You can unmute, you can drop it in the chat box.
Patience.
A good communication.
Huh.
Yes.
Open-mindedness.
Open-mindedness.
Respect towards other perception.
Yes. Respect toward others' perception.
Comprehension.
Comprehension.
Understanding.
Understanding.
Empathy.
Open to discuss and listen.
Very true. So does all this boil down to communication? Part of it boils down to communication, right? So I'll just start my screen sharing. If we see, I will just point to skills that I feel are most important in resolving conflict. If we see conflict actually starts with us first. It's an inner conflict that develops and then it goes to interpersonal, intrapersonal, or interdepartmental or anything, right? Why do I mean why do I say it starts with us? It's first with us. Anyone wants to share their idea why it's with us first?
Shall I?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Shweta. So what I feel is when somebody comes to me or when somebody comes to the one, it has, he has his own perception. If we contradict their own interest, then the conflict gets arises. So what I feel is unless we contradict someone, it is always a perception only. But when we contradict, it becomes a conflict.
Very true. Right? Anyone has any other perspective? Why does it start with us? Does it because somewhere we start getting uncomfortable with the situation or somewhere we do not have an acceptance to things? So always it starts with us and then it lands up either with other people, that's intra-people, or it goes to an inter-department, intra-department things, right? So now how do we resolve it? I feel the first important is our communication, which includes both. It's verbal, non-verbal. We need to settle our body language when we are talking to people. We need to maintain certain distance when we are, talking to people. Even if you cross a little distance, maybe people start getting uncomfortable with that, right? And if it's verbal, we need to have clear and concise communication. How many of us knows about 7 C's? Can we just name it quickly? What are the 7 C's that we need to take care when we are, either it's a written or a verbal communication? Who knows the 7 C's? You can put it on the chat box also, and I'll request Gagandeep if he could help me out what if they are mentioning on the chat box.
So we have good answer from Janvi. It's a completeness, clear, conciseness, clarity, concrete, correct, critical thinking.
Correct. So there are 7 C's which are clear, complete, correct, concise, coherent, courteous. We need to be courteous with people. So many a times we see emails which says, reminder for meeting. Is this a complete communication that we are giving to people? No, yes, you can even do it on the screen, I can say. When we send mail saying reminder for tomorrow's meeting. So is this a way of clear communication? No, right? So what do we want to say when we are saying clear and concise communication? We can write it, it's a gentle reminder for tomorrow's meeting. Agenda for the meeting is sales projection. And the meeting is going to be held from 3 p.m. onwards at second floor conference room. In case you are not available, you can connect to the undersigned. Is this email complete? People will understand, they will not have queries, there will be lesser to and fro of the communication, right? Similarly, the second point, what we are covering is active listening. Now, what do we mean by active listening? Is anyone aware about active listening? What steps are we supposed to follow when we are saying about active listening? You can unmute yourself and share your thoughts. What do we mean when we are saying about active listening?
Listening for understanding.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. It's like, sorry. So it's like listening to understanding and respond accordingly.
Correct. It's listening to respond and not to reply. Right? If anyone is giving any suggestion, we should listen and not immediately reply. What are the other ways of active listening? Or what should we do when we are doing active?
Also, to be a very attentive while he's talking.
Yes, being very attentive.
We can
And
nod our
giving
head, we can say that, yeah, we
Yes.
are listening, and then accordingly we need to respond.
Yes, that's a non-verbal clue that we are giving when we are doing an active listening. No, I can see Somi doing nodding her head every time when I say something, right? So that's a non-verbal cue that we are following. Apart from that, we should ask deeper questions. Because when someone is, this is, well, when someone is coming with a conflict, and if you are doing an active listening thing, these are the techniques that you should use while doing your active listening. You should listen to reply. You should ask deeper questions to the person. Don't immediately come up with a solution. First see what they want to tell, listen to their perspective, train your mind not to get distracted, focus on the conversation, what the person is, giving. Avoid interruptions. If you have mobile phones with you, you can put it aside at the pretty moment. If there is any person coming and calling you, you can wait, you can request the person to wait for a while. You should avoid all kind of interruptions when you're handling a conflict. You should also slow down and try to have silence. Practicing silence is not very easy. It will not come at the first go. As we all are human, we have that instinct of, immediately asking questions, or if someone is giving their conversation, if they are sharing their story, we should be quiet and we can make down our notes and our questions. After he has completed, we can come up and ask them what were, if you have assumed anything in the story, you can come up and clarify that with the person. Should withhold our judgments. We should not have a pre-notion, a preconceived notion about people. So I shouldn't feel that shit, Daniel, वो तो हमेशा अच्छा है, कोई उसके बारे में बुरा बोल ही नहीं सकता है. But if someone has a problem with Daniel, I need to keep my judgment away about Daniel and listen what is happening. Right? And as someone said, we also need to take care of the non-verbal cues. Apart from this, there is a model that we can follow while doing resolving conflict. So that model is lean. You can interchange these steps, but I feel explain and negotiate should always come at the end. So listen first would always be listening. So I have already explained why to someone listening. We should have our thoughtful perspective. Even before that, can someone just tell me the image that we have put? So what is your perspective for the image? Is it 6? Is it 9?
Actually, it depends where you are standing. From girl side is 6, and from old man side is 9. So it depends where you are standing.
Correct. So when we are even listening, we need to take care of the perspective of the person, from where he's coming. What is he feeling and why is he feeling so? Even a background of a person would make him feel different, right? If you are from a metro city and if you're from some interior India, things might be okay for you being a metro girl, but it might not be okay for an interior India girl, right? So we need to understand the perspective. We need to go deeper and see what perspective and why has the conflict has arisen. The second is to empathize. So we should always empathize. We should we should tell them, yes, I understand what you're feeling. That's how we empathize, right? You can even ask them. I understand where it is coming from. I can understand why you were upset about it. So that's, when you empathize, when you listen to people, they will be more open. They'll feel they are heard. And they would be also ready to listen to you when you give your explanation. Right? So when you give an explanation, you have to tell them about your intention, the goals. Why are you looking at? So we can relate this model. If you see, even in ancient times, this model was followed. If you see at Mahabharata what took place, there was Kauravas and Pandavas who landed into a war. So they decided to have a war for the conflict arised because they wanted the kingdom Hastinapur, right? So what happened? The Krishna from another kingdom came. He had to intervene, and he had to listen to both the parties, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. He empathized with each one of them. While explaining, he explained the pros and cons of the battle that is going to happen. While explaining, he also gave him a solution that, I can offer you my army and I can also offer my advice. It's on you how you want to take it. So if you see, Kaurava had taken the army of Krishna, and Pandava decided to take his advice, and hence he was the charioteer for Arjuna. So while explaining, you can always tell them the intentions, the goals, and then negotiate and come to a solution where you tell them that these are the commonalities that we have, and our goal is to achieve. In that case, it was the kingdom. So the goal for both the teams was to achieve the kingdom. So there they negotiated on the terms of the war. You remember they had a term which said like they'll fight only after the sunrise and before the sunset. So wherever you are, whatever situation you are, you have to stop your war if the sun is setting. So even in our workplace, we can use this model of listening, empathizing, explain, negotiate. Has anyone come across any conflict where they have taken the steps in their workplace? Or would anyone like to share any example? It may be even your family conflict somewhere with your sister, with your brother, or you must have done this even in your family. Do we do this in our family also, right? So this is, I feel this, and apart from this, we would like to conclude by saying conflict is inevitable. You cannot move away from conflict. However, it only depends on how you want to, which style you want to adopt, whether it's collaborative, whether it's avoiding. It might change with the situation you are in. It might change with the people you are with, right? So whatever the situation may be, you have to decide the best style, what you feel is correct, and you can pick up the style and manage the conflict. However, what does it happen if the conflicts are not managed properly? Can anyone share their thoughts? What happens if we are not able to manage conflict properly in workplace? It gives resentment to employees.
It can lead to your work-life balance also.
Yes. So that's what we understood when Daniel was covering. It leads to resentment. It gives us stress. It will give us less productivity. However, if it's managed properly, it will give us healthy competition among our team members. We'll be able to achieve our goals far better if we lead it in a correct way. So that's where we would like to conclude and open for any question and answers. I'll just stop my screen and we'll be open for question and answers if you have any questions regarding the styles or the resolution part or anything, we would be happy to answer that.
Yes, Suma, you can go ahead.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Daniel. First of all, thank you, Daniel, Shweta, and Gagadni for an amazing session. I really enjoyed it. And I had a question basically from the presentation which Gagandeep has shared. For example, if I have a certain situation where there is a matter of conflict, both the parties have their own opinions and they have a strong reason to prove it. So what could be the pros and cons to compromise or collaborate in that situation? That's what I would like to understand basically.
So both the parties are in strong. You can say that both the parties are powerful.
Yes, both the parties have their strong reasons to prove their perception. So what could be a pros or cons to compromise or either to collaborate in that situation?
In that case, we can use a compromising style where the goal of parties are mutually exclusive and parties are equally powerful. So consensus cannot be reached in that case, but integrating or dominating style is not successful. Temporary solution, we require temporary solution for some time.
Even I'd like to add something on that. See, if you see both the parties are powerful, your first aim should be whether they are able to achieve the goal or whether they are able to achieve the task. If they are doing it, avoid it. As simple. If they are not able to reach there, that's where we need to, check the other style which is going better. But if they are able to do it, you can give them silo works which has been handled only by them. The other person does not come into the picture. Obviously, by that, I think they'll be able to achieve the targets.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you, Gagandeep.
So I had shared one workbook for practice. You can download it from chat box.
I think it was a wonderful,
We have one
wonderful
question.
webinar.
We have one question of
Only
Shubham.
one thing I would like to share here, everyone, that is, I was watching very recently a wonderful video of Yuvraj Singh, and the host asked him a direct question that we have heard that you and Mahi, that is Mahendra Singh Dhoni, you are not on good terms, right? You are in the same team, and the team is he's a leader, right? And he openly said that both of us are not on good terms. I mean, we don't get along well each other, not in a dressing room, not anywhere. But both of us follow one principle, that when we are on the ground, nation comes first. It's not UV, it's not Dhoni. And ultimately, Dhoni is a captain. And Dhoni, whatever Dhoni will say, he will obey that. I think when we are working at workplace, this is very important for all of us to understand that our interpersonal conflicts cannot take upper hand than the company, organization, or business, right? We may have conflicts. Ultimately, one person will have little upper hand and the person has to do that. And that is what is we need to obey. So I think this is very important that when we are dealing with conflicts, there are certain principles which we need to follow. And that principle and that philosophy, we need to decide. That it can be, I will never go below the belt. If I have a conflict next day or on the same evening, I will be friendly with the same person. My personal relationship should not get impacted because of my official conflicts, or my official personal relationship should not impact office work, right? So think about that one philosophy when you are going to manage the conflict. That can be with your parents, that can be with your spouse, that can be with your children, that can be anything. That is one principle which you all need to follow. Just let me know what will be that one principle which you would like to follow, or the philosophy when you will face the conflicts. What will be that one terms and conditions applied during conflict management from your side? Let me know. I'm very curious to know from you in the chat box. Okay, listen first, respond later. Fine. What will be that You know, one of our bosses, he used to write, we will never speak about the person who is not in this cabin. अगर हिम्मत है तो उसको सामने बुलाओ और फिर बात करते हैं. Right? Don't react that time. Okay? Listen to understand. My conflict should not impact my personal relations with other person. Okay? I'll be patient. One won't go below the belt. I think that's a really great thing to happen, right? क्योंकि ना जब कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होता है तभी समझता है, लोगों की भाषा बदलती है, लोगों की बॉडी लैंग्वेज तुम्हारी तरफ बदलती है, आप में से वो तू तड़ाक पे आ जाते हैं. I think that is something which we need to always keep it in mind, that one conflict cannot take over your entire relation. Amazing. Can we all put our hands together for this entire team, Gagandeep, Shweta and Daniel? Yes. Amazing learning. You know, every webinar gives us so much understanding and make us better human beings. Wish you all the best, everyone. That's wonderful.
We had just one question that we had missed, which is given by Shubham. He has said, how do you identify the root cause of conflict?
Mm-hmm.
So, Shubham, it is, you need to ask deeper questions to understand,
Yes,
you know, what has triggered. Because something is triggered, and that's where you have that conflict in you, or the person has a conflict. So keep digging more, asking deeper questions to understand what is triggered.
So Shubham, I already shared one practice book in chat.
sure.
You
Thank
can
you.
write
Thank
down your hot buttons there, and you can figure it out what triggers your conflict.
you. Definitely, I'll do.
If you are more
Thank
interested,
you
there is
so much.
something called 5 whys. 5 why is a great technique to get to the root cause analysis of anything. Why? You will get the answer. Try this today.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone.
Very nice session.
Thank
Very
you.
interesting session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rahul is you. Rahul, over to you.
No, I'm saying it's very good session, very interesting session. I really liked it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You want us
Yeah.
to wait, or we can end the sessions?